Yes. Okay. Alhamdulillah. So, and is it lagging? Is it lagging? Let me just unblur the background. I think that might be making it lag. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khairan again for all joining this session. We're really looking forward to getting to hear from our panelists and from everybody that's here today. So we'll just start by resetting our intentions, renewing our intentions. Of course, we are all here to understand better how we can make the most of university, what to expect, but we also should try to see this as an active ibadah because, as we all know, we're going to university. It's not everybody has the same beliefs and ideals. We're here so that we can ensure that we are keeping in line with our faith and we get tips from people who have preceded us in going. So if we see it as an act of ibadah, inshallah, the time that we spend together can be beneficial for us. So just to renew our intentions, and we can all also recite Surah Al-Fatiha and then we'll make a start. So Bismillah, wa salatu wa salam, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. We can recite Surah Al-Fatiha and then we'll make a start, inshallah. Okay, so as we know, today we are together here to talk about university life and how we can all be prepared for it as freshers that are going into university. So what I want to do is start by asking you to put in the universities that you'll be going to, inshallah, in the group chat. It would be really nice to know where everyone is going to be going. And you never know, you might have multiple people going to the same university, and that could be really nice because you'll be able to connect with people on this call and then maybe meet in person. So if you're happy to, you could put in the chat what university you're going to be attending, inshallah. Or if you'd prefer to, you could private message it to me so we can have you can understand the range of universities that we've got going. Okay, I can't see any so far, but okay, we've got someone going to Kingston, inshallah. MashaAllah, it's really nice. Whilst we're doing that, okay, Cardiff, nice, MashaAllah, Kingston, Cardiff, and I'm sure as the session goes on, we can revisit this question and see if we've got anyone going to multiple people going to the same university, inshallah. So just a quick introduction to MFB and the session. So MFB is Muslim Forum of Britain, an organization in the UK, and we have a youth branch, and we are part of the youth branch. And we put this seminar on today because we know that there's a lot of us, inshallah, going to university this year, and we didn't come across any kind of place where what to expect as Muslims, the kinds of tips and advice was being displayed or being presented in a centralized place. So alhamdulillah, the idea came and we jumped on it to provide something for our community, inshallah. So today we've got a few panelists that have been kind enough to agree to talk to us. So people who have been to university recently and also some people who have been to university a few years ago to give us a range of their experience and tips that we can learn from, inshallah. So I'm going to be calling on the panelists to introduce themselves. I can see Abdulaziz, so we'll start with you. If you're able to give us a brief introduction to yourself, where you studied, whether you lived at home, university, or whether you lived away from home, and also what was your favorite things about university.
Yeah, okay, so Assalamu alaikum. I'm Abdulaziz. I went to study at University of Leeds. I studied mechanical engineering. I was there for 5 years, so I moved out. And honestly, uni was a great time, a lot of fun. I think the best part of it was learning to be on your own 2 feet, and also making new friends as well. So I'm from Leicester, but obviously I moved a fair bit away to Leeds. Spent 5 years there, so yeah, that's a bit about me.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah khairan. Okay, should we go to Abdul Mu'min to introduce yourself?
Hello, assalamu
Able
alaikum.
to put your camera on, that'd be really nice. So everyone
Yes,
can put a
I
face to
am
the name.
literally going to do that right now. Sorry for the delay. Right. Can you see me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we
Right,
can.
cool. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I hope you're all okay being there. My name is Abdul Mu'min, and I'm still going to University of Leicester. I am currently in second year. However, I've taken a gap year and I've gone to Egypt. So alhamdulillah for that. So uni was good for the first 2 years, and hopefully continue for the last year. When I come back, I lived away from home, so I'll go to the University of Leicester, and I wanted to go away from home. If that makes sense, I wanted to have that freedom, which I've had during uni, but just being cautious about your free time is one thing I've learned from uni, because there are many things happening all at once. So gauging my time management and whatnot has been key takeaways from uni.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah khairan. That's really nice. Where did you say you studied?
University of Leicester.
Okay, but you live in Leicester as well? Or
Temporarily, obviously, back and forth
right.
from my house in Kent and then to uni.
Okay, so it was still like moving away from home.
Yeah. And I'd go back, let's say, maybe every 3 months. Yeah.
Nice, mashallah. Jazakallah khairan. Okay,
Yeah.
we move on to Mariam. Are you able to put on your camera?
Assalamu alaikum. I would actually put on my camera, but unfortunately it's broken. So yeah. So assalamu alaikum, everyone. So my name is Mariam. I went to the University of Birmingham and I studied pharmacy, and I just graduated this July. I'm from Leicester. What did I enjoy about university? I think I enjoyed meeting people all over the world. That was quite nice, seeing people from countries you've probably never heard of. So yeah.
MashaAllah. Jazakallah khairan, Mariam. And Sister Hanifa, assalamu alaikum. If you're able to put your camera on, we would love it. But if not, no worries. Okay, there you are.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yeah, so I'm Hanifa. I'm from Northwest London. And so I've been to uni twice now, alhamdulillah. First time was to Bristol. So I went to UWE Bristol, the University of West of England, Bristol, to study architecture and planning for 4 years. And graduated just before the pandemic, which was interesting. And then alhamdulillah, from 2023 to 2024, I went to Scotland to do my master's in curatorial practice, which I can define later because people usually have that question. So yeah, my favorite thing about uni, aside from what's already been mentioned, likewise, coming from London and being the eldest, I think it was very much that thing of wanting to know who I was individually, in all sort of aspects, in terms of, you know, who you are, in terms of your personality, your character, but also your deen. Like, do I do things just because I'm surrounded by community and family, or is this like part and parcel of who I am? But I think also the most enjoyable thing for me was in my undergrad, in my 3rd year, I, alhamdulillah, had the opportunity to go abroad. So I studied in Milan for a year. But that was pre-Brexit, pre-pandemic, so a very different time, but I can still talk about that, inshallah, because I know it's still an offering in a lot of universities. So yeah, look forward to talking about it all, inshallah.
Jazakallah khairan. And you touched on something that's really important there around our deen and around you know, finding yourself, and whether when you are praying, now that you're at home, you're surrounded by people who are like, you're surrounded by your parents, you're in the comfort of your home, you're going to pray because you know that they're around and they're going to make sure you pray. But when no one's around, are you still going to pray? Are you still going to carry out your religious obligations? Or is it going to fall to the wayside? How strong are you spiritually? These are some of the things that are tested in your time at uni. So you have to go into it being prepared and being ready, because we want to make sure that our time at uni strengthens our iman and doesn't weaken it. I think university is a very big step in our lives. It's a time of opportunity, a time of new beginnings, but it's also a time where your personality, your interests, your ideals, your identity really takes shape. So it's a massive step, and inshallah, we want you to be really, really prepared going into it with your eyes wide open, and recognize that in university you will meet all sorts of ideologies, and in order to be able to stay firm, you need to know what it means to be a Muslim. You need to be prepared. You need to understand your identity as a Muslim so you can stand firm and go through it, without any issues and without losing your faith, inshallah. So we have a few topics that we want to get through today. And the very first of them is what some of you are going to be encountering in a few weeks, which is Freshers Week, which is, if you don't know, it's the first week of uni, or I think in some universities, it's the first 2 weeks of uni, where there are a lot of events, there are a lot of opportunities to just get to understand a bit more what's to come down the line. There's also admin work that administrative activities that need to take place in that time. So my first question to our panelists, and this is going to be like a general open question. Actually, just before I get into the questions, I want to say that for all of the guests here, all of the attendants, please put in any questions that you have into the chat. You can send them to me directly if you feel more comfortable, or you can just put them in and we'll ask them to the panelists. We want to make it as interactive and as open as possible. So I'll be asking questions, but I want everybody to ask questions as well, because you might have questions that I've not considered and that the team hasn't considered. So Freshers Week. So let's imagine we've got sister, I don't know, Hadia, or brother, I don't know, Ibrahim, really excited. They're nervous, but they're really excited because they're about to start university and they've heard that Freshers Week is coming up. What tips would you give them for that first week or those first few weeks of university? I'll go to Brother Abdulaziz first.
Okay, I'd say the first thing you should do is find the ISOC. That's always the best place to start, I think.
Yeah.
Because there's so much you can do in Freshers Week. There's so much to get involved in. And I feel like if you make the core group of friends that you do stuff with, because what will often happen during Freshers is you'll pick up friends here and there, and then you start to do more Fresher stuff with them. And if that first group of friends that you make during Freshers are like-minded people on Dean, people from ISOCs, then whatever you do after that will probably have the Dean in mind, or you'll probably be less likely to do something that you shouldn't do. Whereas if the first people you meet are people who would want to go drinking and doing all sorts, then it might have a bit of a snowball effect where you're invited to more of these kinds of things. It's harder to say no because they're the only people you really know. So I say the first thing you should do is find an ISOC. And then from there, it gets much easier. To be fair, there's a lot you can do without even going to places or doing things that you shouldn't do. But ISOC is always a very good place to start.
MashaAllah, that's really, really good. Solid and succinct advice. Find the ISOC. Okay, cool, MashaAllah. Let's go to Mariam.
So I think apart from finding like societies that you enjoy or societies you think you can belong to, I think trying to familiarize yourself with the area that you'll be living in. So if you're moving to student accommodation, try and understand the city a little bit. So like the safe areas, the areas you should avoid, places that sell halal food, halal meat, maybe masjids as well. So like you can go for Jummah on Fridays and we don't have lectures. What else? Yeah, in terms of societies, I would say they do a lot of like, I think it's like sober events. So events that don't involve drinking, alcohol, smoking. So yeah, just try and get involved with that. So
Jazakallah khairan. That's really useful. Look, so orientate yourself, like familiarize yourself with with the city that you're living in. Get to know where the halal food is being sold. Yeah, mashallah. But Abdul Mu'min.
Assalamu alaikum. So building off the point Mariam just made, a key one takeaway that I didn't necessarily know at the beginning of my stay in apologies. During my stay in first year was familiarizing myself with the local GP. I find that to be very important, as if you have any problem whatsoever, going to them means you're careful basically, and not knowing that beforehand can catch a lot of people out. Another thing, knowing your routes from your uni to your com, knowing which ways are quicker, knowing if it's accessible by bus or Uber. One thing you need to be able to do is handle your money wisely. So knowing how to navigate yourself is very key at the beginning of uni.
Yes, mashallah, jazakallah khairan. And Sister Hanifa.
Again, most of my tips have been mentioned. I would just say, in addition to you orientating yourself around campus, also make it a point to know